Hey folks, welcome to another episode of 5 to 15 with Musickers. I'm your host Jason DeCristofaro, and I'm thrilled to be here with a wonderful artist, the dancing queen of Western North Carolina herself, Amanda Hoyte. Amanda, good to see you. Thanks for being with us. Yeah. Amanda is a professor of dance at Marshall University and active in a lot of different projects. Works with a lot of musicians and does a lot of collaborations in the area. So really glad to be here. I guess the first question I want to ask is, how did you get into dance?
Oh, well, I come from a family of musicians, and I guess my way of getting into music was through dance. I wanted to do it since I was a little girl. Realistically, I saw uh, two music videos when I was maybe 3, 4 years old. One of them was Rhythm Nation.
Oh,
Janet
Janet Jackson.
Jackson,
Yeah.
and the other one was Thriller, and I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah, right.
Great songs, they were
Yep.
bops.
Great
Were
videos.
bops, yeah.
Yeah, great choreography for
Yeah,
those.
for sure.
So when did you start studying dance, I guess, in a formal context?
I was 4 years old.
That's young.
Yeah. We start typically in like studio land with ballet and tap, two completely opposite.
Before you get into the jazz and modern world, right?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
So, because you teach and you're active in pretty much, I think, every style of dance. I'm trying to think of, at least in the traditional sense of like
Right.
conservatory dance.
Yeah, so like I'm classically trained, and thus like teach all the things, essentially. um, yeah, I mean.
So the big thing that I know you for, and a lot of musicians in town know you for, is your tap dancing. And we've talked a lot, you and I, just about like the history of tap dancing and its connection to music, particularly Black American music. Can you share a little bit about when you started to really explore tap dancing more in depth, and also collaborating with other musicians, and your thoughts on just the art form as a whole?
Yeah, so I learned to tap from some pretty like heavy hitter swing, like very very Broadway. However, also super rhythmic at the same time. Like not. I wouldn't describe my tap upbringing as exclusively showy type of tap. I think we got a lot of really good rhythms in there. Some that I still kind of draw upon.
Yeah.
And so there's that. I mean, I it's been in me since I was really young and in training. I became more interested in like tap history, how it relates to American music, how it's America's original dance form.
It's true.
Probably post graduation from college.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, so what, 10 years ago or so?
So you've been at it a while.
Yeah, I've been out for a while. Yeah, 10 years ago, I started reading up. I just became interested in history, I guess. I became interested in jazz music, more specifically, and I think it just, I don't know, I got hooked.
One of the things that you and I have talked about quite a bit is when today jazz musicians talk about the history of jazz music and performing jazz. Tap is not really discussed as much, and yet tap dancing, especially in the earlier part of jazz history, was such an integral part of the music.
What makes jazz, yeah.
Right.
For sure.
So, what are some of the goals when you're performing, and because it's not just about doing a show and dancing and having fun. It's also about educating people, right?
Oh yeah, I consider myself a carrier of a history, of a legacy, if you will. So I take that pretty seriously, and I think a lot of tap dancers actually take that pretty seriously. It's not exclusive to me by any means, but the way that I kind of relate more to the ease of tap.
Yeah.
I feel like I see, it's beautiful that it has evolved over time to be more contemporary and to, um, some of the tricks that these kids can do. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But what I really take pride in is the ease of it.
Yeah.
And by that I mean the coolness of it, right? We create, fire beats, but
In a subdued way.
but we easy about it, right?
You're cool,
yeah,
even though you're doing a lot.
Cool about it. Like I'm not really interested in making it look overly hard. It'll sound hard.
Well, you mentioned this earlier, just a few minutes ago. I think you had said like your first teachers were less about it being showy and more about like the actual rhythms.
My teachers were equally about show. That being at the end of the day, we're entertainers. I learned to be an entertainer for sure. Not but not exclusively that. I feel like they did a good job of making sure that we were really knowledgeable about repertoire, even. Like we did a lot of historical stuff that I didn't really even realize was historical until way later.
Right.
So I really appreciate my teachers for that as well. But yeah, really, I think there's definitely more than one way to do tap. More than one way. And it doesn't necessarily have to be exclusively about one thing or another, about show or about music exclusively. But when I am performing with musicians, I do focus more on what it sounds like rather than what it looks like, and that's what I was trying to get at with the ease comment.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work efficiently with my feet because I want to create interest with my rhythms and not necessarily with what it looks like.
Right, you want the audience to be hearing as much or more than what they're seeing.
Right, yeah. I definitely favor being heard over being seen when it comes to tap dancing. When it comes to other types of dancing, it's a different story, right? But really at the center of all of my dancing is music and rhythm for sure.
What do you think, I mean, you may have answered just now with the rhythm thing, but what do you think are some of the commonalities, the intersection between music and dance? Because every culture in the world has some form of music combined with dance. So why do you think that's such like an innate human thing in your experience?
Oh man, I have such a long answer for this, I think.
We got time.
Yeah. Why do I think that they go together? I think music is movement. I mean, you literally have to be in motion to create it. It is physically deformation of sound. It's motion.
I like that.
Or deformation of air, rather.
To create sound.
Yeah, to create sound, right. Yeah, that's movement, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the qualities of movement that I myself create, you could equally apply those qualities when describing the music that I'm dancing to, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. It's the movement visually represented, and the music is sonically, but with tap dancing, I feel like you're getting, as a tap dancer, you can do all of it.
Yeah, as a tap dancer, I like to, tap dancing, I mean, it's all about play, right? All of any dance, really, jazz and the like, jazz and tap. It's very playful, it's very, I consider it like a play, like a dialogue between me and the music. It's just that if I'm wearing tap shoes, you can hear that dialogue, right?
Right, that's true. Well, and we're talking about dialogue here. I think, I work with a lot of musicians, especially percussionists, and, working with a dancer is not often a topic that comes up as a career option or like an avenue of creativity
Right.
and collaboration. And it's so weird to me because to me that's like the ultimate, especially if you're a percussionist. I know you play a little bit of drums too as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a new thing for me, but yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But for you, I guess when you're collaborating with musicians, what are some of the things as a tap dancer that you're looking for from the musicians?
Oh man, what am I looking for from musicians that I'm accompanying?
Well, just interacting or playing with. So if you're booking a musician, let's say for a gig, right, and you're like, okay, we're gonna collaborate. I'm gonna tap, and you're gonna play whatever instrument. What are some of the things you would like them to do when they're playing to make it, I guess, just more organic and fun?
Oh yeah, I love to hear a musician's voice, like their I just want them to be authentic and themselves. And I do like there to be like a sense of play and fun.
Yeah.
Um, it's not necessarily about. I mean, I keep it jazzy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
I
don't want it to be
guess
stiff. You want it to be
yeah,
like,
yeah. I keep it jazzy. Yeah. It doesn't have to be predicted, and if something happens that wasn't expected or anticipated, that's part of the surprise and the fun of it all.
yeah.
No wrong notes, right?
That's right. Well, that's what keeps it spontaneous, I think.
Yeah.
And keeps it a real dialogue.
Right.
I guess before we go, one other thing I'm wondering about, because you teach a lot of people, particularly young people, and you do so many things as a dancer. You work in so many different projects with musicians and theater and different collaborations. What's some advice you would give to dancers, musicians, or really any young artists for career success? Because you're one of the most successful, you're a working dancer. There's a lot of people who teach dance, but they're not actually doing the thing as well. You're teaching in an academic setting, but you're also out performing and collaborating with a lot of different artists in a lot of different settings. So, what would be some advice you would give to young dancers, musicians, or any artist?
Well, I guess it depends on what your definition of success is, but I feel like as a teacher and as an artist, I am perpetually a student.
Yeah.
I enter into my performances and into, especially when I'm collaborating with musicians, because I respect those musicians. I will approach it, we're peers, but I'm also here to learn in this scenario, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you'll learn something from me. I don't know. But yeah, my biggest piece of advice is to never stop the quest for knowledge and for betterment.
Spoken like a true teacher. That's yep.
I hope that wasn't too cliche, but yeah.
No, it's true
That's
though.
literally how I continue to. That's what drives me to practice on a daily basis, or to yeah, keeps me going personally.
Same. Awesome. Well, before we go, Amanda, where can folks learn more about your work and upcoming projects and things of that nature?
Well, you can certainly find me on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook. As far as performances go, you'll mostly see from my students for the next foreseeable future. I'm not performing personally right this second. But yeah, keep up with me via social media. It's probably the best bet.
Amanda Hoyte on social media.
Yeah.
And Amanda, thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
been great chat.
Yeah.
Hey, Oscar. Ah, by the way, this is Amanda's dog, Oscar. Everyone, Oscar, say hi to the camera.
Boy.
Have a good one, y'all.